Good afternoon, I'm Susie Nordquist. This is your afternoon news fix for Monday, the 4th of March. The government has released its $21 billion roadmap for spending priorities on transport. Political editor Jason Walls has the details.
Transport Minister Simeon Brown says the funds split into $7 billion a year over the next 3 years for a variety of initiatives, including a new $500 million pothole prevention fund. Brown says 15 new roads of national significance will also be funded, including Mill Road in the east-west link in Auckland and Warkworth to Wellsford in Whangarei. And more than $4 billion over the next 3 years will be spent on public transport and related infrastructure.
And to help pay for that scheme, car registration fees will increase by $25 next year, then again in 2026. Service stations want the government to back up its tough talk with action. CCTV footage shows 9 offenders, some armed with hammers, attacking an Auckland service station in Western Springs yesterday. It is the 8th time the owner has had one of their stations robbed since January. Motor Trade Association spokesperson Simon Bradwell says there's been plenty of talk about getting tough on crime in the past year, but the problem remains.
We're past the honeymoon phase now, so a real call to the government would be to announce some plans, put some action into place and tell us what you're going to do about it.
Wild weather is thrashing much of the country, with Met Service warning the western North Island will be worst hit. A tornado has torn a roof off in Greymouth, and in some parts of the country, winds have blown up to 140 k's an hour. Much of central and western New Zealand is still under Met Service weather alerts, and Waikato to Marlborough is set to get drenched. Meanwhile, NZTA is urging caution on Auckland's Harbour Bridge because of those heavy winds. Giving David Seymour responsibility for the free school lunches program could leave the Prime Minister with his hands clean. Health campaigners are concerned about the Associate Education Minister being in charge, as he's opposed the program in the past. Political editor Jason Walls says giving the responsibility to act may mean Chris Luxon can distance himself from unpopular decisions.
And it reminds me quite a lot of a number of other issues within the government, that they kind of keep delegating responsibility to David Seymour, or the ACT Party rather, on issues that it's kind of a little bit harder to talk about.
Dunedin High School went into a short lockdown this morning after a car went through its fence. The Otago Daily Times reports emergency services were called about 11 a.m. after the vehicle crashed into Bayfield High School, landing on 2 parked cars. Police say the driver may have suffered a medical event, and St John assessed someone with moderate injuries at the scene. The Department of Conservation may have found New Zealand's oldest bat. The 26-year-old long-tailed bat was discovered as part of a monitoring program in Fiordland. The bat weighs the same as a AAA battery and has produced a pup every year for 20 years. Setting up restaurants with robot waiters is just one of thousands of start-up companies that's come onto the scene since COVID. ANZ data shows 62,000 small businesses started up between March and September 2021. One of them is G Robotics, launched by Raman Sharma. He says robots can do things people don't like very much, like picking up dirty dishes. To sport now, and New Zealand is celebrating a record medal haul at the World Athletics Indoor Championships in Scotland, snaring 2 silvers and 2 golds to beat the previous record tally set in 2016. And the Blackfern Sevens have won back-to-back tournaments on the World Series circuit, beating Australia 29-14 in the LA final. I'm Susie Nordquist, and that's your latest news fix. We will be back with the next update tomorrow morning from the Newstalk ZB newsroom.